Yo, what's up, everybody? Hitmanbk, and we have a Remnant update. Now, this isn't exactly as big as I was hoping. I mean, it's big, but it's not anything new. It's right here. I've already got it up. This is gonna be a no. This is a no BS video. We're going right into it, y'all. All right, you're not even gonna get an intro. Just kidding. Here it comes. Okay, come on. That was kind of funny, right? Maybe join the FC club for real, y'all. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you like everything that's coming here. Join the Discord. We've got Diablo players. We have a Diablo clan. We've got a bunch of Remnant players. Yeah, and we just all have a good time. We like to hang out. It's a filthy casual club. Love to have you here, and I think everybody who has been supporting. I'm big on Remnant and kind of all over the place. It's probably why it's hard for my channel to really get like strong growth, but I really like what I'm doing. And I'm glad everybody who coming along with me enjoys how I'm doing it. So if you guys are a part of that club, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and join us. One of us. Okay, anyways. Tragic, of course, posted a Devloop 002 for Remnant 2. So we're going to just get right into it. I'll tell you guys everything in here because why not? He basically says, hey, friends, time for another dead loop. The goal of these is to inform everyone on what's coming. So there will be surprises that will be revealed when the time is right. So there's nothing like really net new in here. I'm just going to say it right now. The biggest thing is loadouts. But he wanted to cover some topics I know many people are interested in. So the big update they've been teasing this whole time is tied to armor. The Bright Steel Ring, and a couple of other things. So there are some changes coming to the game, especially in how armor works, that I think people will have to see how much they like. It is a nerf, but it's not like a crazy nerf. It seems to be something they've really worked on across the board to bring up how armor works and fix some of that. So let's just get right into it. Basically, in the first dev loop, he said he talked about damage reduction, DR, and this time they want to start off with armor. There's a few specific areas I wanted to cover, those being armor to weight ratio, survivability versus stamina costs, and ease of ignoring trade-offs, the strength of the Bright Steel Ring. That's basically what got nerfed, the Bright Steel Ring. In the current build, there are extreme ratio differences between different armor pieces. Some grant upwards of 3 armor per weight, while others are barely exceeding a 1-to-1 ratio. Compare Labyrinth gloves to many of the other less efficient choices. So, and then you have the heavier armors, especially Leto's MK2, which didn't have enough stamina cost penalty like they did in R1. That's Remnant 1. They become the obvious choice for most builds because you really weren't making any sort of sacrifice to wear them. Part of that was due to the weaker stamina cost penalty compared to R1, and part of it was due to the strength of the Bright Steel Ring. And then he talks about the Bright Steel Ring here and how it's so good, especially since there are 4 options for rings now, whereas in Remnant 1 there were only 2. He's basically setting up what they're going to do with the Bright Steel Ring. So what is changing? It's going to be armor to weight ratio that they felt was fair. The baseline 2-to-1 ratio for armor to weight was a good starting point, but they're going to a 1-to-1 ratio now. So they've adjusted the weight a bit and created a curve that granted lighter armors a more efficient ratio and heavier armors a less efficient ratio. So for some insight, they did think about doing it the other way, but just ended up making ultra heavy the clear choice in a world where it was already pretty good. Basically, y'all, what's happened here is the Bandit is now the lightest of all of their armor sets and has an overall ratio of 2.52 armor per weight, which is a 21 to 22% damage reduction. Leto's MK1 is the heaviest and has a ratio of a 1.9 per weight, which is about 48% total damage reduction. Every other armor fits along this curve. So the heavier the armor gets, the less efficient the ratio is, but most of the armors, especially in the middle of the weight ratio, grant similar damage reductions to what they did before. It's not pinpoint exact. Some armors lost some damage reduction as well that they could fit within our ratio. Generally, it was no more than 3 to 4%. So anything that you were playing may have a 3 to 4% reduction lost. So in order to make all of this change, what they did is also look at stamina cost penalties for each weight class. And Remnant 2, even though the UI currently says stamina penalties are 0% light, 25% medium, 50% heavy, and 75% ultra heavy, they are actually 0, 15, 30, and 45 respectively. No idea why it's that way. A pretty stark difference. We fixed this so the penalty properly matches the UI. This means the heavier the weight class, you're going to spend more stamina when performing actions. So that might have been a bug that they finally fixed. And then the Bright Steel Ring, As he's mentioned, he basically says, as he's mentioned, it's like an infinite encumbrance ring. They're changing it. So what they're changing it to, it's going to be called the dull still ring now. And how it's going to work now is it actually just going to reduce your weight class by 1. So if you are in heavy, you'll be medium. If you're in ultra heavy, you'll go to heavy. So you're basically going to drop just 1 weight class is now how the ring will work, which he says still feels really good. And when you tie it to like wearing a full MK1 Leto's armor, which is 95 weight, and you add a meteorite shard, you will sit at a total 145 total encumbrance. So wearing the dull still ring in that respect is actually a negative 70 encumbrance ring, which is still pretty good. And they changed strong bat trait. So he actually talks about the strong back trait and then forgets about it. So I'm going to skip and then we'll go back up. The strong back trait previously reduced encumbrance by 10. Now the dodge weight threshold is increased by 15. So what that means essentially is without strong back, medium dodge, it sits between 26 and 50. With strong back, your medium dodge is now 41 to 65. So basically brings it up. So with strong back trait, you actually can wear heavier armor and still get a medium dodge up to 41 to 65. And we've made this change so that it better fits the combat of a strong back and challenger, who are the archetype who would probably wear more heavy armor. So with this change, the example now, Leto's MK2, which is a total of 90 encumbrance, will be able to heavy roll with the new strong back because the heavy threshold will be increased from 51 to 75 to 66 to 90. And then if you combine that with the new dull still ring, you'll be at medium weight in MK2, no problem. Okay, so you guys can kind of see what happened here. Clearly, they felt with armor, it was just like obviously you had one option. That was like the option to use. This is their reasoning to level everything, so it feels like you don't have to just spec right into heavy, and you actually still have to deal with some sort of penalty for being in heavy. Whereas if you're running the challenger class, which is like designed to be this tank class, then you get the bonuses of running the tank class, which I think that makes sense to me. It is some changes which are going to piss some people off, which happen in Reddit. But you know, these things happen in these kind of games. That's really all I can say about that. But to bring everything into back around, they also changed survivability trinkets. So they've done a pass on 35 survivability amulets rings to coincide with the armor adjustments. And the goal was to make survivability trinkets more enticing so that you had most trinkets that had damage reduction, healing, lifesteal, max health, max stamina, or even shield have been buffed in some way. This could be value, duration, proc trigger stacks. Some of the examples, Leto's amulet will now increase stamina cost reduction from 15 to 30. So these are some sizable buffs here. Camouflage increases DR from 50 to 60. The bisected ring reduced incoming damage penalty from 25 to 15. Blood Tinged ring will increase range from 10 now to 25. The Fey Bruiser ring increases the duration from 7 to 15 seconds. Ring of Deflection increases deflection chance from 20 to 35. And Tomb Dweller's ring increased max stat count from 1 to 3. And there are more changes buffed across the board. So I think in their hope, the nerf and change to armor is offset, especially when you look at the changes to the survivability trinkets. This will be something obviously on paper is frustrating, and we'll just have to see how it plays when we get into the game. Miscellaneous fixes. With a major patch comes lots of bug fixes for archetypes, trinkets, mods, mutators, and weapons. The standouts are Misty Step will now work properly with melee attacks. The Shield Breaker mutator has been changed to Shield Strike. Max upgrade now grants charge attack a damage boost based on the amount of shield present and does not consume the shield. Farin's Sigil no longer allows mod generation for active mods. Resonating Heart's overhealing amount no longer gains a double benefit. Certain mutators that function with certain melee weapons now trigger properly, and a bunch of other changes that are coming. We'll see those when the patch notes comes out. They are adding in loadouts. That's the biggest thing in here. This and then the changes to armor reduction are really the big part. But when all that settles, they said the next thing they're doing is a pass on the weapons, mods, archetypes, and even traits. There are a lot of moving parts here, so they can't wait basically to tell us about it. But they wanted to get armor in a good spot, yada, yada, yada. It's all just marketing BS. I'm not going to lie to you. Personally, this is kind of like, this is not going to push me to get back into the game. I was hoping to see something new. I was hoping to hear about the new mutators, especially since he was teasing these already on Twitter. It's kind of a big sad that there's nothing net new in here. It's just kind of balance changes across the board with a essentially nerf to, I think, something a lot of people were wearing. So I think this is going to be a wait and see for a lot of people. On paper, I think some people are going to be pretty pissed about it. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear some stuff in the comments. Nerfs never feel good, regardless of the reasoning behind them. It would have been cool just to see new stuff. But they did say that they are constantly on the lookout for issues, and the team is dedicated to taking care of stuff as quickly as they can. Bugs, balance, new stuff. So new stuff is coming. We don't have a timeline on when. I just hope it comes sooner rather than later. And yeah, as you can see in here, for real, this sucks. Deserve to be stronger, especially with Firestorm is right there. I was looking at this last night. There might be more stuff in here, but there are people who literally are concerned about the changes. And he comments to some of these, and then also says that hopefully you'll stick around because there are some new stuff. But I mean, hopefully we can get these balance changes in and out, get these patch notes out, and start getting into the new stuff, because that's what's really going to bring people, I think, back into this game is DLC, not nerfs and a couple of buffs of survivability. Wish I had better news. I think it's really cool that we finally did hear something, but looks like we're still in the waiting room on actual new content. So let me know if this is enough to get you back in. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to keep up with me. I'll always make sure to let you know when new Remnant stuff comes out. Got some Diablo builds coming. We might have a Remnant build video coming after this. We can talk about the changes in armor, what that actually did, to give you guys a better example. So yeah, until next time, I'm Hitmanbk. Have a great day.